In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 college football games happening on October 11th, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Alabama versus Missouri. The number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide head to Columbia this Saturday to face the number 14 Missouri Tigers in a pivotal Southeastern Conference clash. Missouri has been firing on all cylinders and benefited from an extra week of rest and preparation. I've always had a soft spot for underdogs coming off a bye, and Missouri fits that mold perfectly. Still, their schedule so far hasn't exactly been a gauntlet, leaving some uncertainty about how they'll stack up against elite competition. We'll finally get our answer here. Since its early stumble against Florida State, Alabama has completely turned the page. Consecutive wins over Georgia and Vanderbilt have reminded everyone what this team is capable of. The defense has tightened up, and the passing game looks lethal again. This is a rare situation for the Tide, just the 7th time since 2007 that they've been favored by 3 points or fewer. Missouri will need to prove a lot more before I can take them seriously here. As our first pick for this matchup, the Alabama Crimson Tide to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Alabama enters ranked 21st nationally in scoring defense, allowing only 16 points per game, and sits 5th in the nation against the pass. Missouri's defense has been equally stingy, giving up just 14.6 points per contest while leading the country in rush defense. Both units are disciplined and rarely give up big plays, forcing opponents to grind out yards. Missouri's offense has been explosive all season, but they haven't faced a defense with Alabama's speed or structure. If the Tide can neutralize Ahmed Hardy and make Beau Pribula sustain long, methodical drives, Missouri's scoring output could take a serious hit. Offensively, Alabama is efficient but measured. Ty Simpson has been accurate and composed, though the Tide's ground game ranks just 105th nationally. When playing with a lead, they prefer to bleed the clock with short passes and controlled drives. Missouri's defense excels at third down stands and red zone stops, surrendering only 4 touchdowns all year. With both teams built to manage tempo and minimize errors, the pace should naturally slow, favoring a lower total. The team total over has cashed in 3 of Alabama's 5 games this season, but it's gone 0-2 since Southeastern Conference play began, falling short against Georgia and Vanderbilt. Missouri barely slipped over the total once in Southeastern Conference play, edging South Carolina 29-20 for 49 combined points, with both sides leaning on defense and Alabama allowing just 49 points across its last 4 outings. This matchup looks destined for a tight, low-scoring finish. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Ohio State versus Illinois. One of the most intriguing matchups on this season's Big Ten slate features Ohio State traveling to face Illinois. The game will take center stage on Big Noon kickoff, and the atmosphere is expected to be electric. Illinois entered the year with legitimate college football playoff aspirations, making this a crucial test to keep those hopes alive. Ohio State, meanwhile, has coasted through its schedule without much resistance, but this trip to Champaign marks its toughest challenge yet. The betting line has narrowed earlier in the week, suggesting growing confidence in the home side. All signs point to this being a potential trap spot for one of the nation's elite programs. This isn't a play for the faint of heart, as many bettors will remember Illinois' lopsided loss to Indiana and immediately write them off. However, that defeat came under difficult circumstances. Illinois was without 3 of its 4 starting defensive backs, and Indiana capitalized. Once the game got out of hand, the Illini essentially waved the white flag to regroup for this week. The question now is whether Illinois can keep pace with Ohio State's offense. The Buckeyes will score, even with a freshman quarterback operating within a cautious system. The challenge for Illinois is to move the ball effectively and find the end zone. Luke Altmaier gives them a chance. He's thrown for 1,500 yards without a single interception, and the Illini can run the ball well enough to control tempo. With home field energy and solid quarterback play, Illinois looks capable of hanging around. As our first pick for this matchup, the Illinois Fighting finding Illini to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Illinois knows it can't completely stifle Ohio State's offense, but it can make this a four-quarter game by putting points on the board. Both quarterbacks have been efficient and mistake-free, which leans this matchup toward a high-scoring shootout rather than a defensive slugfest. Altmaier's 12-0 touchdown-to-interception ratio mirrors the precision of Ohio State's Julian Sayin, who stands at 13-1. Illinois just dropped 43 points on another Big Ten team, while Ohio State comes in after scoring 42 against Minnesota. Both offenses are humming, and defenses will have their hands full all afternoon. Expect fireworks. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Washington State versus Ole Miss. The Ole Miss Rebels aim to extend their unbeaten run to 6-0 this Saturday when they host the 3-2 Washington State Cougars. Ole Miss enters this matchup after a 24-19 win against LSU 2 weeks ago. Quarterback Trinidad Chambliss put up 314 passing yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Running back Kewan Lacey paced the ground attack with 87 rushing yards and 1 score. The Rebels' defense carried much of the load, keeping Garrett Nussmeier under 200 passing yards, limiting LSU to just 57 rushing yards on 22 attempts, and forcing a turnover. Washington State also arrives off a victory, having defeated Colorado State 20-3 2 weeks back. Quarterback Xavier Eckhouse threw for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns, while running back Leo Pulalasi led the ground game with 50 yards. The Cougar defense controlled the tempo, winning the turnover battle by forcing 2 fumbles and recovering 1. With both teams coming off a bye week, this matchup will reveal which side has recovered best and can find early rhythm. All indications favor a dominant performance from Ole Miss. The Rebels have been flawless at home this year, both winning and covering in all 4 home games. Chambliss has turned heads nationally, averaging 15.9 yards per completion, ranking 3rd among all FBS quarterbacks. The offense is powered by the explosive Kewan Lacey, who has already piled up 445 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. He's well positioned for another big outing against a Washington State defense that surrenders 150 rushing yards per game. Ole Miss has averaged 43.3 points per contest at home, and there's little reason to believe the Cougars can slow them down. As our first pick for this matchup, the Mississippi Rebels to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Washington State games have hit the over in 3 of 5 contests this season. On the road, the Cougars have split their totals, going over in a loss at North Texas and under in a win at Colorado State. Ole Miss also sports a 3-2 record to the over, cashing in on their first 3 before seeing unders in recent wins over Tulane and LSU. The Rebels have scored at least 41 points in 3 of their 5 games and should slice through a Washington State defense that struggled against top-tier offenses. Expect another high-scoring affair, with Ole Miss driving the total upward. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Oklahoma versus Texas. The Red River rivalry returns this Saturday, promising a heavyweight showdown between the number 6 Oklahoma Sooners and the Texas Longhorns. Oklahoma breezed through its most recent matchup against a severely outmatched Kent State squad, racking up 355 total yards, averaging 5.2 yards per play, converting 23 first downs, and going 7 for 13 on third downs. The defense was even more impressive, holding Kent State to just 135 total yards, 2.6 yards per play, and 7 first downs while forcing 2 turnovers. The Sooners have put up at least 24 points in every contest this season, though it's fair to note that Michigan remains the only real test they've faced so far. Texas, on the other hand, turned in its worst showing of the year in a disappointing loss to Florida. The Longhorns managed 341 total yards and averaged 5.9 yards per play, but only converted 3 of 11 on third down and threw 2 interceptions. 10 penalties totaling 70 yards added to their problems, while the defense gave up 457 yards and 7 yards per play despite forcing a pair of turnovers. It was an ugly performance across the board. Fortunately, Texas has some favorable games ahead, but getting past Oklahoma first is the immediate challenge. Whether Mateer suits up or not could be pivotal, but there's still reason to be skeptical about Arch Manning's form and how he'll fare against one of the nation's best defenses. Texas traditionally rises to the occasion in this rivalry, yet the value lies with Oklahoma, who appear to be the more complete and consistent team right now. As our first pick for this matchup, the Oklahoma Sooners money line is our full game side pick. Defensively, Oklahoma ranks second in the nation in scoring defense and first in total defense, while Texas holds the 5th spot in scoring defense and sits 13th in total yards allowed. Both defenses have yielded only 3 touchdowns apiece over their last 3 outings, and neither team has given up more than 20 points in a game this season. With both excelling in red zone and third down defense, this matchup projects to be a slugfest defined by field position and timely stops. On offense, both teams are measured and efficient rather than explosive. Oklahoma has converted every red zone trip into points but sits outside the top 30 in total offense. Texas, meanwhile, has had trouble finishing drives and ranks near the bottom nationally in red zone conversion rate. Whether it's Manning or Mateer or even Michael Hawkins Jr. if Mateer is sidelined, both offenses rely on control and short passing over deep shots. Considering the emotional stakes of the rivalry, the conservative play calling expected, and both sides' ability to sustain long, clock-draining possessions, this one shapes up as a defensive battle where the total stays below the line. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Indiana versus Oregon. The marquee matchup of college football's Week 7 takes place in the Big Ten, where the Indiana Hoosiers square off with the Oregon Ducks in a clash between two teams eyeing not just a conference championship, but also a potential playoff berth. Both sides enter with lofty ambitions, and the outcome here could go a long way toward determining who controls the path to the Big Ten title game and possibly a top 4 college football playoff spot. The stage is set at Autzen Stadium for what should be a statement game. Both teams bring plenty to admire, but the story of this matchup revolves around Oregon's offensive firepower. The Ducks have been unstoppable for much of the season, and quarterback Dante Moore has led the charge with surgical precision, completing 75% of his passes and tossing 14 touchdowns. Freshman standout Decorian Moore has already established himself as one of the nation's most dynamic receivers, while Malik Benson and Gary Bryant Jr. have been reliable big play threats on the perimeter. The ground game has been just as dominant, ranking 5th nationally in expected points added per rush, powered by a 4-man rotation that gives the offense constant versatility. Indiana's defense has been statistically elite, but it hasn't faced anything close to Oregon's level of explosiveness. This could be the toughest test and a reality check for the Hoosiers' defensive front. Indiana, meanwhile, remains one of the most disciplined and well-coached teams in the country, validating preseason optimism about their playoff potential. Their offense thrives under Curt Cignetti's balanced system, particularly through inside zone runs that keep defenses honest. Wideouts Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper form one of the most underrated receiving tandems in the nation, consistently stretching defenses for quarterback Fernando Mendoza, who's already thrown 16 touchdowns on just 124 attempts. However, Oregon's defense will be the stiffest challenge Mendoza has faced yet. Indiana struggled at Iowa last week, and Autzen Stadium will be no friendlier. With the Ducks' relentless pass rush and a secondary performing at an elite level, Indiana's red zone efficiency will likely dip compared to earlier in the season. As our first pick for this matchup, the Oregon Ducks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Indiana's defensive line has been outstanding this season, anchoring a unit that ranks among the nation's best. Oregon's defense doesn't get the same headlines, but it has been quietly dominant, allowing just 6 red zone trips through 5 weeks, the second fewest in the country. The only team with fewer, Indiana, with 3. To pull off an upset, the Hoosiers must rely heavily on that defense, control possession, and keep Oregon's offense off the field. Expect both sides to focus on time of possession and defensive execution, leading to a lower scoring contest than the numbers might suggest. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.